Timcast IRL will be live in Miami with Patrick Bet David, Donald Trump Jr., Matt Gaetz, and Luke Rudkowski. Join us there. Get your tickets by clicking the link in the description below or by going to timcast.com. Here we go, everybody. You ready for this one? Bowman camp slams Nazi Republicans after fire alarm flap. This is the state of Congress. We're in serious trouble. Okay, I think you guys have seen the story. So this dude pulls the fire alarm next to a door with a sign that says depress the bar or whatever for 30 seconds to open the door. This basically causes a stall in the vote over the government spending bill. He then says later, I thought pulling the fire alarm opened the door, which I'm sorry. I don't think he is so stupid he actually believes that. I think he's smart enough to recognize if he says he intentionally pulled the fire alarm, he gets criminally charged. So it's I just thought it opened the door. But I got to tell you, ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking it. He should be criminally charged. So after he gets a bunch of flack from everybody saying, he's trying to stall and delay, he then has his camp puts out a message saying that they're all Nazis. This is really, really funny. Let me see. I don't know if they actually have the messages here, what he actually put out. But he then comes out, here we go, timcast.com. Rep. Jamal Bowman condemns use of Nazi in memo issued to Democrats by his office, saying it is important to specify the term Nazi to refer to members of the Nazi Party and neo-Nazis. And then, here's a tweet from John Levine. Rep. Jamal Bowman says, Michael Knowles is a Nazi hell-bent on keeping only white men alive and in power. We cannot allow him and others to push their evil agenda, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. We can sit here and sing the praises of Matt Gaetz or Dr. Ron Paul when he was in office. And this is what Democrats have to offer, I suppose.
For the record, Michael Knowles is a Christian Republican, not a Nazi. He doesn't serve the Nazi party.
And I'm pretty sure his wife's Jewish. But all of that aside, these people are horrible. Nothing's going to happen to Bowman. He has Democrat privilege. You can do whatever you want. You can pull fire alarms. You can be racist. You can, right before we started, there was the Ilhan Omar story about giving illegals IDs. It's like they can do anything and they get more power. That's how they operate, and they protect their own much better than Republicans do. But this guy's a buffoon. You guys, I'm sure you covered the video of him screaming at Massey in the hallway
of course.
A couple months ago. This guy is he's the worst of the worst, but he's exactly what the future of the Democrat Party is.
He changed his story from, I thought it would open the door when I pulled the fire alarm to, I was in a rush, I had to vote. So I pulled the fire alarm. He changed his story very recently.
He's saying that the door is right. The door is normally open. He was in a rush, and when he got to the door and saw that it was closed, he thought, I have to get to the Capitol building, and if I pull the fire alarm, it'll open the door so I can get through.
My question
Despite the fact there's a sign on the door explaining how to open it.
Is it now okay for congressmen to pull fire alarms when they're in a rush? Because that's the precedent this will set if he doesn't get arrested.
Well, I disagree. The excuse he's making is, I thought it opened the door. So it won't set precedent, but he should be arrested.
Ian, you should go to the Capitol right now and go into that same building, that same location, and you should test out your theory, being I just need to leave here and then see what happens to you, because you could say you made a quinkydink.
But that's actually a really interesting point. Yeah. What if someone goes in there and says the exact same...
A Republican, though.
No, I'm just mean literally anybody. I mean, you will get arrested. Yeah. You pull they're going to arrest you, and they're going to give you all the insane BS. Disrupting an official proceeding or whatever.
The Democrats really don't like that one. And how much government resources and time are you wasting? MTG released a very interesting video showing how what this Congress member was saying was an absolute lie. But I think the Babylon Bee definitely takes the cake here, as they wrote an article that was titled, Democrats propose a $12 billion study to determine what strange red handle thingy with fire alarm on it does. And they really just nailed this entire situation very well, more than any other news organization out there, as of course there's so many lies by the Democrats. There's lies by the Republicans too, but all of them are just full of crap, and he should be held responsible for what he did.
Doesn't this just seem to you like this is the next step of where the Democrats are obviously going, pulling fire alarms? Like, you've got John Fetterman in his hoodie, and they changed the rules so he can wear shorts and a hoodie.
But they changed it back, didn't they?
Did they change it back?
Yeah.
If they did, I was away for a couple of days. I might have missed one. So they actually changed it back?
Yeah, people were pissed off about that one.
Well, that I have not heard that. I'm completely amazed by that. But he will figure out a way around it.
Oh, yeah.
But just the basic idea that every norm that we have, everybody that is respectful and decent and competent will eventually be purged, and you will just get a bunch of people that pull fire alarms and tell you that they don't know what they're doing. And a lot of people will be like, oh, I guess he didn't know what he was doing.
You know what it is all that is required of evil to triumph is that good men do nothing. and too many people allow people like Bowman to run and win.
Yeah,
too many people support it.
But what if someone like pulled out a gun while they were shooting a movie and they were like, oops, and the gun went off and they killed the cinematographer, like Alec Baldwin did? You would think like ignorance of not knowing that the gun was loaded with the bullet, you would think that's not an excuse to commit the crime. It's kind of a joke because
Bowman should be criminally charged. The problem is our system is broken and corrupt.
I don't. This is one I'm going to have a hard time letting go of this one because for years to come, people can pull fire alarms in Congress if this isn't taken care of right away.
I hate to tell you, they're letting them go.
He'll probably get a ticket. They'll be like, he got a fine. His office paid for it, which is your tax dollars. Something like that'll happen.
And then we'll be told it's because America is systemically racist.
Oh, yeah. That's the next thing he's going to come out and say.
Yeah, of course he is. They wouldn't have done this to a black guy. Lauren Boebert would have been walking off scot-free.
Yep.
White supremacy.
How black-pilled are you?
I'm a little black-pilled about the nation as a whole, but I'm very white-pilled on what's going on here in Florida. And I think that that's the freedom, or that's the future of America. We're going to kind of go our different directions, and it's
And then Florida declares independence?
I think we're probably not that far from that to some extent, in some way. I only mean that's part. Well, it's not even that you'd have to do that. The states are set up to be laboratories of democracy, and yes, you can't solve all the problems in your own state because yes, they can still screw you. They can still screw you at the border by letting in all these people, but you can control your border to some degree. You can't control.
Florida declare independence?
No, not today. No, not yet.
Today.
Yes,
No.
yesterday. Please declare independence immediately. Get away from the union and just leave us alone, please.
Let's put it this way. I never thought I would have been a separatist in the Star Wars prequels, but the more you watch them and you see what's going on, you kind of go, well, actually, when an entire system is corrupt, getting out of the system does make sense. I'm not for that. Well, the other problem with that is that the red states, if the red states really were just like, let's kind of all get together and not leave in like some drastic way, but just kind of do our own thing, have economic trading policies and all that on our own. The blue states will never let them go. Florida and Texas and South Dakota don't want anything from the blue states, but California wants the money and the resources of Florida. They can't keep running these giant deficits and all of this other shit without Florida and the red states, because what's going to increasingly happen, we know this is happening. All of the functional people who build things, who want the government out of the way, who want to produce, they're all moving to the red states and they're leaving the blue states. And don't forget that Lee Zeldin, who nobody knew about 2 weeks before the New York gubernatorial election, he lost by about 500,000 votes. You know how many people moved out of New York during COVID?
Yep.
About 400,000. So it was that close to flipping what is like the bluest of blue states, and now it just got further. So,
but this is one of the,
it's just gonna
the
keep
big
happening.
components of what happens in Florida and Texas. Why it flips so red? It's people coming here and then voting red.
They're voting the right way.
Yeah.
I mean, I meet these people all the time because people know that I did it very publicly. But everyone I meet here, the amount of former Dems that now tell me they're first-time Republicans. Do you know the numbers on that? The when DeSantis came into office, someone could check this. I think the Republicans were actually down by voter registration, and now they're up by like 400,000 or something like that. Someone give me the real numbers on that.
On our way here in the airport, met some fans. And they were like, "Oh, cool, we love your show." And I was like, "What are you up to?" And they're like, "We're moving to Florida." No joke. Yeah, they were like, "We're moving." And I was like, "Wow." I was like, "We're on our way to Miami."
Yeah, Miami went red.
I know.
Miami went red.
The city went red.
It's a major urban area. Urban area is predominantly overwhelmingly Democrat.
Can I tell you something so great about this? Is just how like functional these people are. I was doing the show one day and I was talking about the crazy. Oh, it was right after I was in San Francisco and I did this video that went viral, just the zombie apocalypse, right? So I was talking about San Francisco and LA and Portland, Seattle, all that. And I said, I don't know how many homeless people there are in Miami, but I know it's not that many because you never see them, and we take care of business here. Literally, while I'm doing it, I get a text from Suarez, the mayor of Miami, and he says, "Dave, tell your audience we have 348, and I'm working on it." Like, think about the functional difference of the people that are running this state and this city versus almost the entire country.
I think you were looking for numbers earlier.
Yeah.
Republican Party of Florida, numbers for that. And 2023 was 5.2 million. Before that, it was 5.3 million. In 22, so they're down 80,000 or something.
Wait.
No.
In 2020, it was 5.2.
In 2023, it was 5.24. In 2020, I'm going backwards. Let me go forward. In 2019, there were 4.7. 2020, there were 5.2. So that's 500,000 people joined the Republican Party in that year. 2021, it went down from 5.2 to 5.1. So a million registered Republicans left the party.
100,000, you mean?
No.
Oh yeah, 100,000. I'm sorry, I'm getting these numbers wrong. It's This is from dos.myflorida.com. Does that sound familiar? Are these
Well,
numbers familiar?
the net number you're talking about is basically in 4 years, it's about 500,000 more Republicans
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
And that is like a massively huge number for a state that is now really the reddest state in the nation. I mean, the guy won by 20 points, has a supermajority on
And
that.
there's
In 2000
300,000 less Democrats.
In 2017, there was 4.5 million registered Republicans. Today, there are 5.2 million registered Republicans in the state of Florida.
How many Democrats?
There are 4.6 as of today, and in 2017, it was 4.8.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a major urban state. Like all of Florida is a developed.
Well, we personally have to thank the Cubans here. They've been through
I'm down
the
in Miami.
socialism
Yep.
and the communism. They're pretty based. They don't like centralization, and I get along with them very well because I come from communist Poland. We don't like government there either. They don't like big government here as well.
But the other thing that happens once you start doing things right, I think one of the things DeSantis has done really well. So, for example, I disagree with DeSantis on the 6-week heartbeat bill. Personally, my personal belief is 15 weeks. That's kind of where I would even be on 12 weeks. But I'm not as, let's say, conservative on that. But when you do strong conservative policies, not only do you get strong conservative people to move into your state, you also scare off the whack job lefties. So somebody that might have moved to Florida before because of low taxes, suddenly they're like, but wait a minute, I like 6-month abortions. I'm never going to move there. So it actually doubly helps you. You get the good people coming, and you're also putting a force field so the wackadoodles don't move in.
But there's a major negative to that. And if you look at what California did with illegal immigration, they end up getting between about 1 or 2 extra seats in Congress to vote against your rights, ban your right to keep and bear arms and things like that by breaking the law.
By what? By allowing them to vote, you mean?
They don't allow them to vote.
Or
What happens
whatever it is they allow them to do.
When non-citizens are allowed into the state of California, they are counted in the census, which then apportions congressional seats. So you don't need to be a citizen in order for your presence to have an effect on the Electoral College and Congress.
I blame this on the federal government and also the Banana Republic
And
of
so
California.
there's actually is a risk here. If all of the people are leaving their areas, and I'm not saying they should stay. They should certainly be moving away from these cities, in my opinion, for the most part. But if they all come to Florida and then Florida wins by 20 points, if you're thinking about strategic allotment of your resources, gerrymandering comes to mind. You want to make sure that you are putting just enough people in the right places to win those districts. If you get 500,000 people from 3 or 4 states, put them all in Florida, Florida's already red. Florida doesn't need 500,000 new people.
Florida did get more seats because of that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's 1 extra seat.
Yeah.
That's just about 1 more seat that's going to be given to Florida. But you'd be better off winning outright winner-take-all states by putting 100,000 in 5 states as opposed to 500,000 in 1 state.
To be clear, as a new Floridian, I'm not for everybody moving here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you really do need to spread it out. And as a nation, we do have to, if we're going to remain united at all, which gets us back to the other thing. But yeah, we need
not
to
so convinced.
But look, if we are too, I think maybe we aren't. But
yeah.
I think, yes. Well, look how many people moved to Tennessee in the last 3 years. I mean, it's a crazy amount of people as well.
But,
so.
it might just be, we talk a lot about national divorce, civil war, what it means. And there are a lot of people that think this is like where we are now is where we will be until the fighting starts. And there's another reality. San Francisco's in disarray. Yeah. It's falling apart. Los Angeles is falling apart. There's feces everywhere. The Westfield Mall. What was it? They relinquished the claim to the property to their lender.
Oh, in San Francisco.
Yeah. The mall. 2 of the biggest hotels did. The reality may be that these blue states stay on this path. We maintain stability for 5, 6, 7 years, and these cities just lose all their political power and capital. Now, right now they can claim, we make all the money and blue states do all the work. You're a city, okay? It's outside of the cities is all red for the most part. If these cities are mismanaged to this degree and their policies are going insane and people are leaving, it's called a brain drain. The people who are leaving are the hard workers who don't want to be in a place where they're being oppressed for their hard work. So they go to Florida where they can strive, where they can thrive. And then the people who remain are demanding of the government. The government raises taxes. The system falls apart. Give it 5, 10 years. New York will be a pigsty, pit stain. No one's going to want to be there anymore, and they will have no political capital. And then people are going to look to Florida, and they're going to look to Texas, and they're going to look to Tennessee.
Well, the next version is then between the fentanyl and the God knows what sex these people are doing and everything else. Then the super virus starts, the zombie apocalypse, and then yes, we do have to put gators at the border to keep these freaks out.
Gators.
Do you think you could have benefited at all, California, if you'd stayed?
No, I did everything I could do. I fought as hard as anyone. I campaigned with Larry Elder. I got audited by the state 3 days after the campaign ended. That was the day I put my house for sale, for real. California wants to go in that direction. There are good people there. I was just there. I had dinner with some friends. Like, there are still a good people remaining, but everyone's depressed. It's all they talk about. Yes, you're going to find pockets of sanity. Of course, it's not all that crazy everywhere. But you're right. The brain drain, it's not just what it does to the businesses and everything else. It's what it does to the human spirit when you realize you're in a, why would you ever open a store, a freaking sneaker store or a pizza joint, if you know on any given moment they're going to burn it down? So what it does to your family.
So what happens is, the brain drain is, the people who normally start the businesses leave because they can't, and the people who don't start businesses stay and demand of the government.
Right.
Well,
That's
this
the
happened,
Writers Guild
This
strike.
is the same exact thing that happened in Cuba. Cuba faced a major brain drain, and this is why a lot of people speculate that we had a total almost collapse of their society because everyone was leaving Cuba, leaving communism, leaving somewhere where the government was oppressing them, taxing them, controlling them, and they left for places like Florida. And this is why Cuba is the state that it is now. This is why the Soviet Union fell. This is why communism never works, and the people in that country usually go hungry because the people capable are the ones usually punished by that entire system.
Tim,
It's
you
a
want to
repressive
go?
system.
You want to go while you're in Miami to a place where everyone's going to know you and buy you a mojito? Go to Little Havana down here and hang out with some of the Cubans who will talk about freedom until 4 a.m, hopped up on sugar and rum. These are good people who care. They care
And
about
arepas.
freedom.
Yeah, and mint. though. You said mojitos?
Yeah.
No,
Mojitos.
no mint for me.
Dude, you mentioned
Ceviche. We'll share
We
ceviche.
don't drink no booze here. We'll have a little kombucha with them, but
Kombucha. I don't drink that
A
either.
little kombucha.
yeah. But no, the Cubans here are very based, and they're very, very strongly independent. They don't like government. They don't like centralization, and I think this is why Florida is so great because of them.
I keep thinking about pills. You mentioned earlier, like the brain drain, and it's all kind of circling around my head now, like just distractions in general, people playing video games, watching porn, taking opiates or whatever, opioids. What is your vision for how to help people? I mean, I'll just say weed apparently can help people with withdrawals. You know, it can help suppress some of the pain that felt by opiate withdrawals.
CBD.
CBD.
Yeah.
So, but there are paths to maybe introduce new things, but like, what do you see? Because I think this is like, no matter how political you get, it always comes down to if the population's doped up, population ain't going anywhere.
Well, look, I'm not Jordan Peterson, so I'm not in the business of giving life advice to people, but I do my August off the grid thing for 1 month a year for 7 years. I freaking put this thing in a safe, and I have no news, no TV, no social media, nothing. I know absolutely nothing. A couple of years we've gone to Bora Bora. A couple of years, this year we were in the Mexican rainforest.
Wow.
And just disappear. This year, I really, now having kids, this year I didn't want to do it. I didn't read any books. I just did nothing. I mean, we exercised, ate good food, but that was it. And then I come back and I have fresh eyes on this. You know, Tim, since me and you, we're like OG in this freaking thing, right? like think about it, where we started and where both of us are respectively. We've been doing this for a long time.
I was later than a lot of people.
Yeah, but roughly, we're old timers now
10 years.
in this game. I hate to tell you, man. But when I first met you, you had freaking nothing, and you've built something amazing. Like, we've been in this for a long time. And how many people do you know that were in the similar world as us that have lost their freaking mind, gone crazy, just the whole thing breaks them. The politics breaks them, the money breaks them, the fame breaks them, or the lack of money or lack of fame,
You see-
blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And to me, 1 month, so I take 1/12 of the year without this freaking thing, and I come back and I'm fresh and I'm ready to go. And I think it's kept me in the game.
You're asking people to basically, we'll do a Marvel reference so that everybody can
if I can
understand
work
and
with you
enjoy
on
it.
this one.
Yeah, in Infinity War, when Thor is standing in the way of the star, the Star Forge, you're asking people in politics to stand in the center of a forge being burned on all sides. Not everybody can handle that.
Oh, that's where he gets the big hammer or something. Right?
Yeah,
he gets
he has to
I
pull
got
the
it, I got
levers
it.
and it blasts him, and he's
Yeah.
like dying.
Yeah.
So this
All
is
right, I'm asking people to do that. Is that such a big deal?
This job is being inside of a pressure cooker,
Yeah.
24/7 nonstop, and some people like popcorn.
Yeah.
When's the last time you did 1 day? 1 day.
No, usually I would say like Saturdays.
Yeah. Oh, so you do try to.
I would say Saturdays I'm like 99% reduced.
All right.
You know, like I still check my phone for texts and stuff like that, but usually Saturday morning and then around Sunday night I'm back on and I'm picking everything
I
up
was
and
in a
reading it again.
Twitter hellhole yesterday, man. There's nothing like it.
Oh, it'll get you. It'll bring you to hell, and then you're just lucky if you can get back in. But I'll tell you, you do this, if you can try to do it, even for a weekend or a week or whatever, like when I'm 3 weeks into this thing, I'm remembering friends that I have not thought of, second graders. I can basically remember every kid in my class. I'll have whole songs, albums in my brain. I can tell you every word. Like there is so much stuff in the recesses of the human mind that we just completely shit on with day-to-day. Holy shit, this person who I don't know, I never heard of, they said something and I'm going to destroy them for it. And we're doing that all day long. And there is magic in us, in our minds,
your
in our brains,
dopamine
in our spirit.
receptors, your dopamine receptors are just being blasted, and it's pretty much just unhooking from the matrix. I used to do it every 2 weeks, but things have been so crazy. It's been difficult within the last few years to take a break. But
that's
you
also
reminded me I need to take a break. It's just like meditation. If you can't meditate for 10 minutes, you got to meditate for 20 minutes.
Exactly.
This
The machine ain't going to slow down.
Exactly.
I hate to tell you.
This is
It's only
why
gonna get worse.
vacation is important.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.